Kamron, welcome. Look, we got there in the end. I mean, if this was not the year for these kind of things to happen, I don't know what was. Thank you so much for giving up some more of your time. Everybody is really looking forward to hearing from you as a student representative. So thank you. So let's go right back to the beginning and start again. So I am absolutely privileged to be the head teacher, your head teacher. Incredibly inspiring young person, but we heard from a range of people about their experiences. What has it been like for you as a student over the last 12 months?
Okay, so given the current circumstances, from my perspective, I think online learning has been generally very good. All of our teachers have been really supportive, trying their best to get to grips with the new online platforms and always setting extra challenges for us. At the beginning of the first lockdown, I'm going to say everyone had pretty much no idea as to what we were doing. And I think we all know that the students, the learning for most students probably dipped. However, once we were back at school, the teachers made sure they went over everything that we missed, even if we had done it online somewhat. And then with the second lockdown, we all knew what we were doing. So I think the quality of education increased massively. And I think if we had a repeat of the first lockdown now, there are less gaps in our knowledge than if that was to happen.
Great. So obviously you are, I can say this, as I say, I'm your head teacher, an extremely studious student. Tell me a bit about what the challenges were aside from the learning. So obviously so much of school, as you know, is about interacting with your peers and all of the other opportunities. What was it like, actually, what has it been like not being at school as in the building?
So I think we've obviously missed out on loads of these social interactions with our peers. And I think some of us have become quite antisocial. As well, walking to school and walking around the building gets your steps count up, and sitting at home, it's not much to do. So I think we've got quite unfit as well.
Well, yes, that's true. So perhaps actually you ought to do PE rather than science in my office on a Friday morning, eh? So yeah, obviously, look, it's been challenging, we know. But one of the things that really amazed me throughout this whole period has been the things that students have got up to and made the most of despite the circumstances, so beyond the classroom. And you have been particularly busy in terms of what you've been doing. Tell us how you've made the most of the kind of lockdown scenarios, and what have you done that's actually kind of you've had the opportunity to do because of the situation we've found ourselves in.
So in the first lockdown, I was doing a bit of everything. Miss Draper, who's got an amazing presentation about Most Able, ensured that we all reached our full potential during that period. She constantly stretched and challenged us both in our timetabled English lessons and in our free time. For example, she hosted her weekly book club, which made us use our brains a bit. I was also appointed as the youngest trustee in the OPG,
Wow.
which is a peer
Well,
support group for
tell us a
ophthalmic.
bit, yeah. Tell us a bit about what that is. You've given us an acronym there. Tell us who they are.
Okay, so the OPG are the Ophthalmic Practitioners Group, which is a peer support group for ophthalmic practitioners, which gives advice and support for the professionals who need it for whatever reason. So I helped create videos for them for their social media and help write their articles. During the Christmas period, I worked with Mrs. Townsend, who's the head of performing arts at KC, and Mrs. Hayward Pretty, the assistant head teacher and the Canva queen, to produce a daily advent calendar of performances for the school's YouTube channel. And now that we're back at school, we're already making some videos with you.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, what incredible, the youngest trustee of a board. I mean, phenomenal. I also heard that you taught yourself some A-level biology. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. So that was just sort of like in the summer holidays, had nothing to do, so I thought let's just go a bit above and beyond.
Brilliant. So obviously all of those things have been going on, and it's been challenging, we know that. Tell us some things that you're particularly proud of, both either that you've achieved or that you've seen other of your peers achieve.
So to begin with, when I was in primary school, I ended up moving up a year, as some of my friends might know. Essentially, I was doing mornings in reception and the afternoons in year one because of the ability I'd shown. And then the year after, I went straight to year two, meaning that I'm a year younger than the rest of my peers. And then fast forward a few years, I started year seven when I was 10 and was the youngest in my year. And then last year during lockdown, KC hosted their virtual awards evening, where I was fortunate enough to be awarded the Head Teacher's Award by the amazing Mrs. Giovanelli.
I didn't
Thank you
pay him
again for
to say
that.
that. Just putting that out there. I didn't say him. I didn't. And as you know, Cameron, our Michelin motto at the school is to dream big, work hard, and stay
Stay
humble.
humble.
Stay humble. But for us, humility is about celebrating what we're really good at, and also then knowing what we need to improve at. And it's so nice to hear you talk about some of the great things that you've kind of that you've done. What do you think? I mean, like I say, I know you, and I know we had a chat, didn't we, on Friday in my office about actually the difference in the experiences of some of the students. How do you think some of your other peers have kind of got on? What have been some of the other challenges that they faced during this last kind of 12 months?
I think, yeah, so not as a problem for me, but I think there are problems with motivation. Like, how do you get students to log on to meetings and do work? Because I think a lot of them do log on and start just playing video games. So I think for teachers, interaction during them lessons has been a challenge for both sort of halves.
So give us some tips. So for teachers watching this now, what can we do to, because you're absolutely right. I taught my year 11s online, and actually it's difficult when you can't see people's faces and whether they're understanding. What are some of the kind of practical ways that either you've experienced or you think that teachers could use to really help kind of engage and motivate students to kind of take part, and because we can take from that, can't we? Even though we're now back in school, those strategies are still just as applicable.
Yeah, so I think forms quizzes are really good. They boost interaction. Just raising your hands, like as in the register, I think that's just sort of, yeah, get them interacted. And then also one of our English teachers, she would set an assignment where you have to edit it live, and she can actually edit the document with us.
Yeah, okay. So you probably heard me say to the other panelists, there was quite a lot in the chat about technology and how we move forward with technology. What's your kind of view from a student perspective as to, whether you think we should continue to embrace technology? How do we go about this next period in terms of the kind of blended learning? What would you like to see happen?
I think we should definitely keep using Teams and Microsoft Forms and things like Microsoft Whiteboard. I think by doing that, we have like a digital photocopy of everything, and then we can reflect on that instead of having to flick through books and stuff like that. It's like a database of all of our resources that we need.
So there's something, isn't there, around actually being away, like you say, that kind of keeps it in one place, and you can access it. What else? Anything else that the kind of some of the things that technology's done in terms of, I don't know, collaboration? Has that gone about differently because of technology? Should we keep some of those aspects of the technology?
Yeah, so definitely. As I said, we did the daily advent calendar with Mrs. Hayward Pretty, and normally, before we started using OneDrive and SharePoint, we would have had to go up to our office and plug a memory stick in. But now it's as simple as here's the file and click share on OneDrive.
Yeah, so actually that kind of communication. And so tell the listeners, viewers, however they're accessing this, a little bit about your podcast, because this was not one of my crazy ideas. This was actually something that you and your colleague Reese came up with. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so as Miss Draper would know, who's probably going to be listening to this, we run a filmmaking club with some year sevens. And when was one of the projects on that, we were making a podcast. So we sort of did one with Mrs. Roger, our English teacher, and we found it really educational. So we just sort of took it further, interviewed some different teachers, and now Miss Fisher is going to hopefully get start trying to find employers that we can interview as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, what a great, again, I know I say this to you, but the work that you've done in terms of embracing technology and how you've used that to speak to perhaps a wider range of people than you might normally have the access to as a student in year 10, and those podcasts are a brilliant way, and I can absolutely see them going from strength to strength. Is there, Kamron, I know, like, here you are, you're speaking to potentially 900 educators or people connected with education in Northamptonshire. What if you could say something to those people that work on behalf of young people? What kind of messages have you got for them? What would you say to them? Here's your chance, Kamron. 900 people listening. What's the kind of student view? What do you want to say to them?
Yeah, so just a sort of last message, as much as you already know this, the last year has been challenging for us all, but I'm sure all the students are so grateful for all of the work and effort that you've put into us. The number of emails, Teams calls, extension tasks to stretch and challenge us to ensure that we're ready for our GCSEs has been such an enormous help.
Oh, and I'm sat here and I've got another of my Educating Northants colleagues, and actually that brought a little tear to her eye to hear that kind of gratitude. I think, you know, we absolutely do what we do because of you and young people, but actually I think that's something that we've all found that, you know, as we heard from some of our other panelists, that parents and students and as teachers, we found that kind of connection with each other has really helped us all through, like you say, what's a kind of challenging time. So I am going to ask you, Kamron, what would be in your picnic basket? What would be in your picnic basket?
I haven't been on a picnic for the best part of a year, but in my basket, there would be some tuna sandwiches, some fruit and veg because you've got to get them vitamins and minerals in there,
Yes, you do.
and lots of cloudy lemonade.
Lots of cloudy lemonade. Brilliant. Well, Kamron, look, thank you so much. And thank you so much for, like I say, joining me now on this Zoom call so that we can hear your perspective. I know that everybody's going to love hearing from you. And like I say, you are an inspiration. So thank you so much for giving up your time. And I look forward to seeing you bright and breezy at 8:40 on Monday morning at the college. Have a really good rest of the weekend.
You too, miss.
I will. Thanks, Kamron. See you Monday.